We're going to not waste any time. We're going to do a very brief introduction because I don't want to waste any of this man's time. I already got some of it today earlier on the third coaching call that Rob and I have been doing with Josh Coates, and many of you guys know him. Many of you are going to get the pleasure of getting to know him and meeting him tonight for the very first time. But it's funny, we all have that moment at a big event like Summit where we kind of have this breakthrough and we say, I want to follow that person, or I want to learn from that person, or I want to study that person. And sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a success partner. And for us this year, it was hearing Josh at the Power of I Am event. And we just realized that this guy, he's got a lot that he brings to the table, a lot of heart, a lot of tough love, a lot of leadership experience, a lot of Beachbody experience, although he is not a coach. He is a coach, but he is not a independent team Beachbody coach. And I've never had more valuable coaching in my entire life. It's every single time we leave a call, we need like 90 minutes to even just think about and discuss what just happened. So we're really honored to have his time tonight and to be able to introduce many of you guys to Josh and just hear what he's got to say. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too. And this is, you said events, and I have to touch on this because it's important. It's one of those things where you will meet someone you never expected to meet. You will have your life changed in a way that you never expected it to have changed. And I think that even goes for showing up on these calls, because some of you guys will be like, I need more Josh in my life, or you'll at least say like, I need to do more of this in my life. So I just want to thank you for honoring your family and honoring your business by being here so that you can grow.
And can I say one more thing about Josh? This guy, he's on. So Josh, man, I've never heard anybody break down the vital behaviors in such a way that excited me to work really hard, and also simplified stuff, like just the fusion of challenging me to want to be better, but also breaking it down in such a simple way that it's manageable. It's something that's really exciting, and it's a balance of strategy and of soul. And so I love him. And I can't wait to hear what he's got for us tonight.
So Josh, thank you again for being here. Thank you for your time. And you can take it away.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Can you hear me okay? I feel like, man, I don't know if you guys might have killed my energy, because now I just want to cry. I'm not sure if I could even bring the push coach now, because I'm just so touched. But thank you guys for the intro. That was awesome. I appreciate it so much. And I felt the exact same way. I'm the same way. I go to an event and I'm like, at every single event, I'm expecting to meet someone that's going to change my life. And actually, even before the event, I remember telling Jenny and my assistant on the way up there, I was like, Rob and Chelsea are speaking, and they spoke last year. And I remember maybe like getting to say hi for a second, but this year we don't have like 1,000 speakers like we had the year before. And this year, pretty much everyone that was speaking was like one of my clients, with the exception of Rob and Chelsea. I was like, I don't know. I just feel like we're going to have a connection. I mean, it's rare that you go somewhere where there's another high level person and there's not like a connection. You know what I mean? So like I was almost kind of like expecting it, but then you guys got on stage and I was like, these are my people. Like, these are totally my people. Like, we've got to connect. And then I came off stage and I think Chelsea was the first one to like say something to me. She was like, hey, we signed up for your group. And I'm like, what are you doing signing up for my group? Come on. Like, let's chat. Like, you don't need to be in my mastermind. Like, you don't need to be in my group. We need to work together. So let's talk. And it's been an awesome, awesome fit. So I'm honored to be here. Huge respect for everything Rob and Chelsea have been doing for several years. And I'm more than honored to be here to speak to all of you guys as the team. So if you don't know who the heck I am, because you probably don't, that's totally cool. My name is Josh, and I'm your push coach. I'm a member of the John Maxwell team. John Maxwell is the #1 leadership trainer on the planet. He's written 90+ personal development books, including 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. You can't understand what I just said, but just trust me, it's the #1 best-selling leadership training book of all time. The dude is a stud. I have found myself somewhere in between what I learned from John Maxwell and what I literally just shoved down my own ears into my brain 24/7, which is Grant Cardone. Uncle G is my homeboy. I feel like he is my spirit animal. John Maxwell is like my father, and Grant Cardone is like my spirit animal. So somewhere in the middle comes JC. So GC, JMax, JC. So that's me. That's what tonight I'm gonna be speaking on my philosophy. Okay, I have one specific thing that is my philosophy. Everything else you hear me say, I'm just repeating what someone else said. This is the only thing I've ever really made up, which makes me feel really special when I talk about it, because everything else is quoting someone else. Tonight, I'm just going to quote me, and I'll probably still quote 1,000 other people because I love to. But tonight, I want to teach you the number one thing that I have used, hi, Jacqueline, that I have used to help people to crush their businesses. Okay, for the last 3.5 years, I've specifically worked with the Beachbody community. I've mentored 10 plus top 10s, 10 plus superstar diamonds. I specifically helped 2 people like pull off top 10 when it was like a big time Hail Mary, like not just a Hail Mary, like pray to Jesus, pray to anything and everything you can think of to try to make it happen. We pulled it off, some crazy stuff. And about beginning of 2016, I started asking myself a question that I ask myself all the time. Why aren't more people getting results? Why is it that some people, I can help them pull off some of the craziest stuff in the world? My very first year that I was working with Beachbody coaches, around the beginning of October, I had about 8 of my clients say, oh yeah, Josh, I want to go elite this year. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, cool, what's that mean? Well, it means I have to be 5-star. P.S. All of these people were 1 and 2 stars. It means I have to be 5-star. I have to have, a certain amount of elite points, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So like, when do we have to have this done? Like by December 31st? Well, actually I have to go into qualification by November 16th. Yes, I still remember the date from, that would have been 2015. I still remember the qualification date because I had that many people. I had at least 8 different people, maybe as many as 10, who were 1-2 star level, who wanted to go elite, and technically had 6 weeks to pull it off, and then had to hold for another 6 weeks. Out of the 8 to 10, I think 6 of them went elite, from 1 or 2 star ish to 5-star in basically 6 weeks, and held it out for the year and drank a lot of coffee and didn't sleep much. But they told me that's what they wanted to do. They agreed to it. Okay, I helped them do it. Meanwhile, I worked with probably 150 different one-on-one clients that year. And other than those 6 or 7 people, 133 or 43 or whatever, we're just kind of poking along, hanging out. And they would say things like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Thanks for dropping those truth bombs, Josh. I love truth bombs so much. You're always dropping the truth bombs, but not getting results. And so I kept asking myself, why is it that some people, they feel so good, oh my God, but other people actually get stuff done and see results? And I started asking myself, what's the difference between the people that did this and the people that did this? And when I really thought about it, and when I really, really, really dug deep, I realized the people who did this were the people who came to me with this one thing. I want you to write this down in all caps. I want you to underline it 7 times. I want you to put at least 7 exclamation marks. Anything that's worth writing down and remembering needs at least 7 exclamation marks, okay? That's what my notes look like in my phone. It's like exclamation, exclamation, okay? It's one word, and that is urgency. Urgency. They came to me with something that was urgent. In fact, they came to me with things they weren't even really quite ready to believe in. They could hardly say them out loud. But it was things they wanted. And at the beginning of 2017, after realizing that, I just stopped calling myself a life coach at all. I got sick and tired of people thinking, because a lot of times we think life coach, ooh, it's someone I get to sit around and talk to and chat and have a fun chat with. And I changed my name to Push Coach. I said, I don't want to work with people unless they want to grow. And I sent out a message to all my clients, said, starting this year, I'm only working with people who want to push for big, crazy, scary goals. If you don't have a specific thing you want to push for, this isn't worth your money anymore. And I started seeing people have some crazy, awesome results when I started setting the expectation of, let's do something big. I don't want to hang out. Don't get me wrong. I love to hang out. I'm a peacock. You guys don't know my animal types yet, but we can maybe dive into them. I'll give you a quick breakdown, okay? Quick breakdown. We'll hop off to the side for 1 second. A rhino, very competitive, very self-motivated, very driven, full force ahead, join me or get the heck out of my way. That's a rhino, okay? You might be fooled into thinking that rhinos are extroverts. They are actually what we call extroverted introverts. They are very outgoing personality-wise, but they are actually task-oriented, not people-oriented. So they can like get on stage and have lots of energy, but then like afterwards they're like crying in the corner because too many people around. Gives them stress, okay? But they're full force ahead. You got the peacock. The peacock is give me the spotlight. Give me all the spotlight. I want to be in front of everyone. I want to make all the jokes. I want everyone to love me. I want everyone to think that I'm the absolute best. Most of the time we dye our hair bright pink or bright purple because we just want attention that bad. If you're on the call and you have bright pink or bright purple hair, you are probably a peacock. We've got the golden retrievers, which are all about the people the same way peacocks are, but they are the more reserved one that's kind of like behind the scenes. They want to be around the people. Okay, this is honestly 90% of Beachbody coaches. They want to be a part of the community, but they don't want to necessarily be the one in the spotlight. They want to go where everyone goes. They will be on every team call. They will come to Summit. They will do anything in the world to come to the retreat. They just won't always necessarily do something for themselves. It's always about the community and the purpose and the mission. Then we've got owls. Owls are my least favorite. If you're an owl, I love you as a human, but I can't stand you as a person. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. Because owls have to have a spreadsheet for everything. Everything has to be organized. Everything has to be color-coded. Everything has to be documented. If I use the wrong, I just almost did it because I started thinking about it. If I use improper grammar tonight, you will make note of it. And if that's you, you're going to hate me so bad because my grammar is so terrible and I just don't care. I got all A's in English, but when I'm talking, I don't really give a crap. I'm just going to say whatever comes out and that's just how it's going to flow. Peacock, owl, we're absolute opposites. So if you're an owl, I apologize. You might not want to sign up for my training groups because it'll never be enough information for you. Okay. It'll never be organized enough for you, but you really should sign up because you probably need to stop being so organized and put in some action. Anyways, I'll stop there. Those are the 4 animal types. So I got sick and tired of everyone hanging out and just goofing off. As a peacock, I love to hang out. I love to goof off. But if I'm going to take time away from my family to do a thing called a business, thank God my secondary animal happens to be a rhino. Most people have a secondary animal, and when you're put under pressure, you revert to your secondary animal. So you come hang out with me. If the laptop is closed, we are laughing, giggling, goofing off, being idiots, probably jumping off the couch, rocking some air guitars. But the second the computer opens, it is 100% business, and I'm ready to kick some ass. And I apologize. I see kids on laps. I'll try to keep it PG rated. I apologize. But that's who I am. And I said, if you want to hang out, that's cool. But if you're going to pay me money, there should be a return on investment. And so I'm going to hold you to that standard. We're going to set big, huge, crazy goals, and we're going to chase them together. And if you don't want to go after big, huge goals, then I don't know why you are taking time and energy away from your family. I don't know why you're even doing that. What's the point? Unless you're going to do something that makes a better life. If you're going to sacrifice time from your family, it better be for something that's going to down the road make life better for your family. Would you guys agree? Did you guys agree? So that's what I started doing. And I started teaching this thing called urgency. And I started teaching people how to puke. I wear it on my wrist right here. It says, let's puke together. It's my hashtag. Let's puke together. Because when you set a goal that's big enough and that's urgent enough, I swear to you, you will feel like throwing up. You'll know what I'm talking about by the end of the call. And if you don't feel like throwing up, guess what? You're probably not going after anything that's worth it anyways. How many of you did anybody on here do 80-day obsessed? Anybody do that? Anybody do that? How many of you, when you saw what you were going to have to do, like something in your stomach started churning, correct? But because of that, what did you do? It brought you up to a higher level because you knew the only way I'm going to get through this, I'm going to have to bring my A game. Like, I don't have a choice but to meal prep on Sunday if I'm going to have 7 meals a day that are all going to be clean. I mean, if I have to have 7 meals a day that are unhealthy, no problem. I can just like eat pizza 7 times a day. That's totally fine. But if I got to eat 7 healthy meals a day, that's going to take some preparation. That's going to take some planning. If I'm going to be 80 days obsessed, it brings up a higher expectation. It brings this thing called an adrenaline rush. And you finally figure out, man, I didn't know I could do that. And maybe you failed. Maybe you failed along the way. Maybe you only had 5 of your healthy meals and accidentally had a couple donuts, but you performed at a higher level than you've ever performed before by having something that was so crazy, correct? And so that's what I push people to do. Do people fail? God, yes, we fail. We fail so much. I was telling Robin Chelsea earlier today, I have failed every single month this year I failed to hit the monthly goal that I have. But in the process, I've tripled my business. Now, how many of you on this call would say, Josh, I would be okay with failing as far as if that means missing my goals, if that meant I could triple my income over the next 3 to 6 months? Raise your hand. See, here's what I have found. Is that so many people set such tiny little goals, you fail anyways because it didn't create enough urgency to get you to do anything different than you've done. And if you don't do anything different than what you've done, you're not going to get anything different than what you've had, correct? Now, there is this thing called the compound effect that says if you do the right things for long enough, over time, it will eventually do this. But here's the problem. The compound effect also says that you got to do things consistently, and showing up for your business 2 times a week for the next year doesn't count as consistent. The only thing that's consistent is that you're not showing up 5 days. Showing up 2 days every week doesn't count as consistent in a positive way. You understand that? When your goal's not big enough, it doesn't force you to show up. And I'm just going to go ahead and call you guys out. I hope I don't rub anyone the wrong way here. This is where my nickname is Mean Josh, FYI. So that's going to come out probably 100 different times in the next 45 minutes. Okay. If Success Club 5 is your goal, you are not pushing yourself hard enough. We call Success Club 5 success starters. It's what you're supposed to do your first 3 months. That's how we push brand new people. If you're 6 to 9 months in, 2 to 3 years in, and your goal is still to help 3 people a month, I just want to know what you're doing the other 27 days. I know that sounds really, really, really rude for someone that's struggling right now. Hear me out. Please, please, please hear me out. When your goal is to help 3 people a month, subconsciously, you know how much work and effort it actually takes to help 3 people, which gives you 3 weeks to hang out, goof around, play on Word Swag and Rona Design, not get anything accomplished, and then the last week of the month be like, oh yeah, I forgot I got to help 3 people. Now, sometimes you pull it off, sometimes you don't, and that's the problem. Is no matter how big or small your goal is, you will always subconsciously try to figure out how much work and effort it takes to hit that goal, and pretty much all the time you'll be wrong. So whether you set your goal tiny or big, you pretty much fail every time. So why not set it big enough that when you fail, you still actually grow? Because the last thing I want to do is set a tiny little goal and fail at that. We subconsciously know how much energy and effort it takes to achieve the thing we've set out to do. If you tell yourself, I'm going to lose 1 pound this month, what will you do? I'll tell you what you do. If you're me, you'll eat pizza and drink Corona pretty much every single day until the last week of the month. and then you'll figure out a way to lose a pound, because losing a pound is not that hard. I can literally pee a couple extra times today and lose a pound. I know that sounds insensitive if you're struggling to lose weight right now, but I'm making a joke about just losing 1 pound, as opposed to saying, dude, I'm going to lose like 3 pounds this month. I'm going to lose 5 pounds this month. Setting yourself up to make sure you show up every day. And so here's where I start off. I'm going to tell you guys where I start off with people in my groups. I tell them that Success Club 5 can no longer be their monthly goal. It has to become, at minimum, their weekly goal. Success Club 5 should be your weekly goal. Urgency is all about setting goals that force you to show up now, like right this second. And while I love yearly goals, I teach them. I love quarterly goals. I teach those too. I even love monthly goals. The thing that I love more than anything in the world is weekly goals. Because if I've got a monthly goal, guys, that's 30 days, sometimes 31 days. You set yourself up to fail because it's just too long to be able to do nothing. And on February, you really get screwed because you forgot there were only 28 days. And when you usually turn it on the 26th, you're like, oh crap, I don't even have 5 days. I only have like 2 days. But when you set a weekly goal, here's what I found. People in my groups that have weekly goals, they may have a bad day, but they never have a bad week. People who have monthly goals not just have bad days, they have bad weeks. Do you know how hard it is to grow a business when you have bad weeks? Now let's just pretend for a second. Let's just do a little math. I love math. I'm a little bit of a geek when it comes to stuff like this. It's kind of weird for a peacock to love math, but I do. If, let's just say, at absolute most, you take off 1 week a month, which some of you do more if we were to really add up the days. Let's pretend you miss 1 week a month. Over the course of a year, you missed 12 weeks. I almost did really bad math there. Over the course of a year, you missed 12 weeks. What's 12 times 7? Let's just do a little math here. 70 plus 14, that'd be 84. You missed 84 days out of the year. 84. You ever thought about that before? If you miss a week each month, you missed 84 opportunities throughout the year to take advantage of the compound effect, to take advantage of the law of the big Mo, which says when momentum is on your side, even the biggest things can't hurt you, but when momentum is not on your side, the littlest things can destroy you. And the whole point of business, okay, the greatest thing you can have on your side is this thing called momentum. And I've noticed personally, even when I post at a different time on Instagram for 3 or 4 days in a row, it can like screw up my affinity score. Just 3 or 4 days, not of even missing a post, just posting when I normally post like between 8 and 8:30 a.m. Instead, I like kind of procrastinate, post at 11 a.m. That's enough to butcher my affinity score because the people that I'm normally talking to aren't around at 11:30. Consistency creates this thing called momentum. And if your goal isn't big enough, you don't have to be consistent, which means you never get momentum. And that's where we get people that are like, I've been doing this thing for a year. I've been doing this thing for 2 years. I've been doing this thing for 3 years, and I'm still not getting results. This thing doesn't work for me. And it's not that this thing doesn't work for you. I have worked with people who have very little skills. I've worked with introverts, extroverts. I've worked with people with large followings, small followings, and 100% of people that have worked with me for 6 months plus have doubled, but to be honest, most of them tripled and quadrupled their numbers and their income. 6 months. 6 months. But the problem is we don't have enough urgency to be consistent, and we don't have big enough of a why to stick with it long enough to ever even see the harvest of the seed we sow. I was going to save this for the end, but I'll throw it in right now before we hop into our main points. Yes, this was a 20-minute intro. That's how I roll. You are constantly reaping the harvest of the seed you planted 3 to 6 months ago. Let me say that again. You are constantly reaping the harvest of the seed you sowed 3 to 6 months ago. The whole point of this thing called urgency is to set a goal big enough to get you to show up every single day so that 3 to 6 months from now, you have what you really want. It's not even about hitting the goal that you set right now. It's not about that at all. In fact, like I just said, I have missed my goal every single month this year. But the whole point of that was to keep me consistent enough that here I am in September, my business has tripled. It's where I want it to be. Now, it's not exactly, of course I want it up here, but looking back at the growth, that's what I was trying to make happen. I was trying to create enough urgency to get my business going this way instead of this way. I went through a divorce last year, and as a result, my business that was going like this went like this. And it took a whole lot of energy and focus to shift it back up. And I had to hardcore lean in to all the lessons that I've been teaching people for the last 4.5 years. And guess what? I proved a second time that my philosophy, not my philosophy, it's just personal growth, okay? I proved for a second time that it works. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you why it works, okay? Because some of you are already throwing up thinking about trying to hit Success Club 20 because maybe you're not even hitting Success Club 5 right now. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem is that your goal is so small that you're not having to show up. And if you would aim for Success Club 20, maybe Success Club 5 happens without even trying. But let me explain to you 3 reasons why this is so important and why this works before you go crazy and think that I'm an idiot and this is the stupidest thing you've ever heard. Okay? Ready for it? I want you to write these 3 things down. Okay? We'll take them one at a time. Number 1, urgency creates focus. Urgency creates focus. So the first thing that happens when I tell people to set big, huge goals is they start thinking in their head of all the reasons they could never do that. But Josh, you don't understand. I'm busy. I've got a family. I've got kids. I don't want to be one of those people that works all day and night. Good. Because I don't want you to be one of those people either. Setting a bigger goal does not demand more of your time. It demands more of your focus. Because when you have a small goal, I'm just going to go ahead and call out 80% of you because I have spoken for, I don't know exactly how many people. I have trained 5,000 plus people in my training groups. So if you think about the fact that 1 out of 10 people sign up, I've spoken for at least 50,000 people in the last 4 years. And I've had so many conversations and taken so many polls. I know that based on Josh statistics, that's what I call it because I'm a peacock. If I were an owl, I would want actual statistics. But because I'm a peacock, I call them Josh statistics. It's just things that I'm calculating in the back of my head as I go. Okay, sound good? Good. I know that based on Josh statistics, 80% of your businesses look about like this. You go to work your business and you start off by pulling up Facebook or Instagram and checking your notifications. After you've gone through all of your notifications, maybe you go to your messenger to see who's responded to you, and you respond to people who have responded to you. And then you're like, well, I definitely need to post because that's what you're supposed to do. So you go over here and you pull up Word Swag, or if you're like really creative, maybe you use Canva and you go and you grab a template and you put some layers on top of it. And then you're like, well, but I need to add the glitter, the pink glitter overlay. So I have another app that I go into that to add my pink glitter overlay, but they don't have any unicorns on this app. So I'm going to import it into this other. And 7 apps later, you finally have a graphic that you're going to use for your post on Instagram today. Unfortunately, now it's 2:00 and your kids are about to get out of school. You haven't done a workout yet. You haven't messaged anybody for a new invite or to start a new conversation. You've just responded to stuff that's already there. You haven't done any personal development. Literally the only thing you have done is played on your phone and for whatever reason called it work. And every single week you get a paycheck that looks like you are a virtual assistant in a third world country. Or someone, and I don't mean to, not talking bad about anyone or trying to make light of bad things that happen in other countries, but your paycheck looks like you make Nikes in India. And your husband has reminded you, because usually the husbands are the more analytical ones and the women, I'm the feminine one, so I'm the emotional one. So I'm not talking bad about women. It's me, okay? Usually the masculine is a little more analytical. The feminine is, we believe in everything. Like, Chelsea said so. I can do it, right? But the husband is like, here's the thing. You worked 70 hours this week and made $40. And then he's so kind to calculate what that equals per hour. And then he's so kind to calculate how much money you have spent in the last year on Shakeology plus Energize, because you can't do life without Energize, correct? And then you bought beach bars because you said you were going to sell them. You've got like 7 boxes of beach bars that you said you were going to give samples out at family dinners and at the circus and wherever else you go. You've got them in your purse all the time. You have spent so much money on the business, and he knows exactly how much it is. He's got it on a spreadsheet for you because he's an owl, and he can show you exactly how much you spent every single month for the last year. Based on how much you're making, you are losing $700 a month. And he's a little pissed about it. Especially when he comes home from work and he wants to wind down, but he has to take care of the kids because it's 7 o'clock at night and you still haven't done any invites. So you need to be on your phone still. And you're trying to figure out, 1, why this business doesn't work for you, 2, why you're overwhelmed, 3, why you're exhausted, 4, why your husband pretty much hates Beachbody. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's because your goals suck so bad that you don't have to do anything productive. And you're literally running your life into the ground, playing on your phone and calling it a business. Damn, I'm mean, sorry. But that's the reality. And I know because I've been there. My whole first year of business looked like that. And thankfully, John Maxwell taught me this process called reflection. And at the end of year 1, I reflected and I said, okay, what in the world am I doing, first of all? Second of all, if I continue doing this, how will I ever grow? Third of all, if this is ever going to grow, I don't feel like I can personally be successful trying to do every single thing that every single podcast teaches me. Meanwhile, listening to 6 podcasts a day. So I've got a lot of things that I'm trying. I need to come up with a focused game plan of things that I can do consistently, because J-Max tells me nothing in your life will change until you change something you do every single day, which is also what the compound effect says. So in year 2, I sat down and I said, okay, what are the things I believe that will move me forward if I just do them every single day? What are those things? And let's keep it simple, because I'm working a full-time job and I've had 3 kids at the time. I don't want this taking away all my time from my family, but I want to do this for my family. So I came up with 3 simple things. Do you want to hear something crazy? Do you want to hear something really crazy? It was about 4 months later that I ran into Beachbody coaches and started hearing this word called the vital behaviors. And I said, holy crap. They hand that to you on day 1. I spent an entire year churning my wheels, trying everything on the planet, to then at the beginning of year 2 say, let's narrow it down to these 3 things. Guess what it was? Your vital behaviors. Now I realize they've added a 4th one now, but at the time it was literally the 3 vital behaviors, and they were the 3 things that were on my to-do list. And we can't get anybody to do them because As long as you post on social media every day, we think you work your business. And as long as you wear your TBB hat, we think you work your business. And as long as you drink magical yellow unicorn fairy dust, we think you work your business. But the reality is, most of you do not have a business. Most of you have a very expensive hobby that is ruining your life. And I do not say that to discourage Beachbody. I say that to encourage focus. Because you've been given an opportunity that has the ability to change your life forever. If you can set big enough of a goal, why? Because you care enough about your family to create boundaries and focus on the right things. And then you can go do whatever you want. I mean, in my training groups, I make people plan out their entire day, which includes family time, includes personal time. Okay, I'm just saying that's like the right way to do it. But I'm just saying, if you got your vital behaviors done and out of the way, if you want to play on word swag for 2 hours, go ahead. I don't really care. You want to watch Netflix after that? Totally fine. I'm going to watch some Netflix when I'm done here. Why? Because I've been hustling all day. I need to have a Corona and some Netflix now, but some of you you are not earning your Corona and Netflix. You are just not earning. Hashtag, instead of Netflix and chill, it's hashtag Corona and Netflix. I'm gonna coin that. When you've got a goal worth chasing, you are forced to focus. And you got to get real with yourself and ask, what do I actually need to do on a day-to-day basis? All right. Number 2. Ready for number 2? I think this one will be a little nicer, but we'll find out. Mean Josh always sneaks up on me. I never know when he's coming. Number 2, urgency breeds creativity. Notice I'm not even looking at any notes because this is my philosophy that I live by. I don't got to have notes for this stuff. Urgency breeds creativity. So here's the other thing that happens. You set this crazy goal and you start focusing on the right things. And a lot of times after the first week or month or maybe 2 months, you realize even focusing on the right things isn't enough to hit the kind of goals that you want to hit. And then you are forced to do one of 2 things. 1, work until you die, which I do not recommend, by the way. Or 2, ask yourself, how could I get more results in the time that I have? In I guess it would have been year 3 of my business. After year 2, so year 1, PS, I made $500 total dollars in my business, total for an entire year. That's the kind of money I made when I had no focused plan. I was just showing up and winging it every single day. I was posting on social media every single day, but other than that, like it was just all over the place. Year 2, put together a focused game plan and doing it part-time made $48,000. That's a lot of growth from $500. Would you guys agree? Quit my full-time job. My very first month full-time made $10,000 plus that month. And that's when I realized, dude, I'm killing it. Momentum has taken off. This is awesome. This is what I've literally been dreaming about. Honestly, I wasn't even dreaming about $10,000 months because I grew up in a family full of preachers. To me, like $5,000 a month would have been a lot of money. I wasn't even dreaming about $10,000. That just happened. And then I started listening to Grant Cardone and 10X and stuff. Then I set a goal. I wanted my 3rd year to make $400,000. It would have been 10 times the amount of money I made detailing cars. And I said, I'm going to keep this thing PG because of all the kids. But basically I said holy and then dropped a lot of bombs. I don't know how I can possibly do that. But then because of this crazy goal and not even knowing what it would take to hit that goal, what did it force me to do? It forced me to ask this magical question that I learned from a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He said, my rich dad never, ever, ever let us say, I can't afford that. He made us instead say, how could I afford that? That question has changed my life forever, even in business. Instead of saying, I can't make $400,000, I said, how could I make $400,000? And at the time, Lewis Howes and Chalene Johnson were absolutely dominating my newsfeed. I'm talking the little right column ads. They will refresh occasionally, like while you're scrolling, which is probably an indicator that I was scrolling too much of an ad refresh, but whatever. A Lewis Howes ad would literally refresh and pop up as a different Lewis Howes ad. And I'd be like, what is this guy doing? I didn't even really know what Facebook ads were at the time. I just knew if I'm seeing Lewis Howes' face this often, that's got to generate some type of income. You can't be omnipresent, as Grant Cardone likes to talk about. You cannot be omnipresent and not get paid, correct? So because of that, I made it my goal. I'm going to take over the newsfeed. I don't know how. I don't even know what that looks like. I'm going to dominate the newsfeed. Couple months later, several months later, I'm at a conference that Beachbody puts on. Christine Dwyer puts it on, called Platinum Edge. And Chalene Johnson is speaking. I do not remember what she was even speaking on. I just know that in the presentation, she made a side note where she mentioned Facebook ads. And she was like, by the way, I love Facebook ads. I spend the max amount that Facebook will let me. And if they would let me spend more, I would do it in a second. I don't know anything else she said. I have no idea what else she said. Do you know why? Because I had already asked myself, how could I? Subconsciously, I had set myself up to seek, and what you seek is what you will find. It's a universal law. You will find what you seek, which is why if you want life to suck bad enough, it will. It will suck really bad. If you are convinced that you're not a leader, guess what? You won't be one. Whatever you seek is what you will find. You get to decide what you find in life by setting the course with your thoughts and your words. That day, I found my answer. I went home, just happened to have a client who had paid for Facebook ads training, wasn't using it. I said, next session's free if you just let me have your access. She said, dunzo. I dove in for 6 months to learn Facebook ads. Not 6 days, not 6 weeks, 6 months, because I had a goal that was urgent enough. Here's the other beautiful thing about urgency is if your goal is big enough and valuable enough to you, you no longer try things out for 2 days and say, doesn't work. You say, what do I need to grow? You go find it and you stick with it until it pays off. You don't try IG stories for like 3 days and you're like, never mind, I don't get it. You don't do a call to action post one time and go, I guess that doesn't work. You decide, you make a decision, decide, commit, succeed. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's a really good saying. You decide what you need and you stick with it until it pays off. And that's what I did with Facebook ads. And later that year, my ads were killing. I had Art of Recruiting ad that had reached something like 150,000 people, which in my guesstimation is probably all of the actual working Beachbody coaches, if you take away discount coaches, on an average of 5 times per person. In other words, pretty much every working coach in the company had seen my Art of Recruiting ad 5 times per person. Of course, it's not 100%. I'm sure some of you didn't see it if you were around, but a lot of people did. And I started to take over the news feed. And on December 31st at, I think it was 10:03 p.m., I hit $400,001. 10 times the amount of money I made detailing cars. A poor preacher's kid who literally shopped the clearance rack his entire life, who 2 years before as a grown adult was having someone drive by his house every single week to take pictures to make sure we lived there because we were so far behind on our mortgage we almost lost our home. Because I decided to create urgency and chase the freaking stars. And it forced me to get more creative than I've ever been before. I personally believe, and this is one of my affirmations, every single morning, I say that I have God's creativity living on the inside of me. I don't know what your religion is. I'm not trying to push religion on anyone, but my personal belief is that there is an infinite God that has infinite creativity enough that he spoke words and universe is here. Man, I got that kind of creativity living in me. If you don't believe in God, you believe in the universe, regardless of what you believe in, whatever that infinite intelligence is that you believe in, you have that on the inside of you if you tap into it. But if there's no urgency, you don't need to, do you? You don't need to find a better way to do it when there's nothing bigger that you're chasing. Number 3, and this is maybe the most valuable lesson you will ever learn. I'm not the first person to say this. This is something that has been taught in a million different ways, just not from the sake of urgency. Number 3, urgency demands ownership. Urgency demands ownership. Do you know what you don't have time to do when you have an urgent goal? You don't have time to whine and complain about the Facebook algorithm. You don't have time to complain about whether or not you can find the right hashtags. God, I hate that question. Josh, which hashtags? Is there a right way to pick which hashtags I should be using? Yes, actually, it's X plus Y minus Z plus 38 times the square root of 4. And if you put that in, it'll give you the right hashtag. No, there's no exact science for hashtags, okay? There's not. You don't have time to whine and complain about the fact that Chelsea didn't text message me today. I had a rough day and I was really hoping she would reach out. I even prayed and asked God, if you really want me to do Beachbody, would you just have Chelsea message me today and tell me that she loves me? You don't have time to worry about that. You don't have time to worry about, well, the newest Beachbody program, I don't know, that's just not for my people. I mean, my people are really just not into lifting. They're more Shaun T kind of people. And you don't have time for any of that stuff. You don't have time to whine and complain about things you cannot control. Oh God, he's coming. Me and Josh is coming out because I just had a thought. When I talk about whining about things you cannot control, can we just go ahead and talk for a second about getting to diamond and getting to 3-star diamond? All of it in your control. All of it. But Josh, I can't make people go emerald. And you're right, you can't make people go emerald, but you can find more people. And you can find people who want to go emerald, and you can be so freaking excited about the business that everyone on the planet wants to join you. Yeah, but Josh, I've been stuck at diamond for the last 7 months because none of my people want to work the business. None of my people, I try to give them tools, I try to give them everything, nobody wants to do anything. Awesome. Why isn't your spouse diamond? Because you haven't recruited enough people, that's why. Because you're barely hitting Success Club yourself, so there's not enough people coming in for you to add anyone to his account. That's on you. Why isn't your mom or dad or dog or uncle or cousin or whoever else you have in your life diamond? Every single top coach I know got themselves to 3-star. It's going to be real. They got their spouse diamond with their own work and effort. They got their mom diamond. Usually mom is a little bit easier to talk into signing up for Beachbody than dad. And then they opened up this thing called a second CBC, which, by the way, is the way you make the most money, by finally having a second CBC on your spouse's weak leg. And now you're getting paid 3 times every single time you make a sale. And you get that second CBC to diamond. You are now 3-star. You want to know what magically happens? I'm going to tell you. None of you are going to believe me. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyways. Every client that I've worked with, I've told them this. Get yourself to 3-star and your team will magically show up. Do you know what's happened 100% of the time? I have 3 girls right now who are 1-star at the beginning of the year when they started working with me. They are already elite for the year because they got themselves to 3-star, and out of nowhere, because they created enough hype and enough momentum themselves, finally their team caught the vision. 2 of them just hosted a retreat in Colorado a couple months ago that I went and spoke at. had their own diamond retreat. They started off the year at 1 star because they took ownership. Ownership. You're always in control. And at the same time, you're never in control. You just decide to take control of what you can control. Because if you really think about it, when a diamond says, yeah, but I'm not in control, it's kind of hilarious. When were you really in control? We always talk about getting coaches to work the business like it's the thing we can't control, when in reality, you can't control how many likes you get. You can't control how many comments you get. You can't control how many sales you get. You can't control whether or not someone wants to be a coach at all or even a discount coach. The only thing you've ever been able to control is the energy you show up with and how many people you were willing to talk to. That's it. Do you want to know the magical solution to pretty much every problem you're going to have in this business? Show up with more energy, get more people involved. And that all starts with conversations and invites. The one thing that 90% of coaches don't do. Actually invite people to try something. We have a sales business. We don't like to call it that because we like to help people. So we hate the word sales. We have a sales business. It just happens to be selling something that helps people, okay? The word sell is not bad, okay? When you're selling something that changes people's lives forever, it's not a bad thing. We have a sales business with people who won't even interact to have a sales transaction. You have an Instagram page with probably 7,000 different highlight stories. Want to know what I had for breakfast? Here's a highlight reel. Want to know what I have for lunch? Here's a highlight reel. Want to know what my favorite color is? Here's a highlight reel. Want to know what my favorite animal is? Here's a highlight. 7,000 highlight reels that we've made graphics, custom graphics for, that we spent thousands of dollars on, or just spent 1,000 hours learning how to use Photoshop. And we haven't even asked anybody if they would like to try one of our products. And then we say things like we can't control it. I know I'm being like super mean tonight. I'm like really, really sorry about that, but I'm not. Because the second you decide to take ownership is the second your life is changed forever. I paid $5,000 to join the John Maxwell team. Don't tell anybody that. I don't know that it's public information, but that's what I paid. And they said, read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership 3 times in a row. I said, gosh, dang it. Why would I want to read the same book 3 times in a row? I signed up for John Maxwell because I found him on a podcast. I don't even like to read books. Can't I listen to a podcast? I was pissed. And then I opened up chapter 1, Law of the Lid. I can now quote most of the book to you. And it said, you will never be more successful than your ability to lead people. Now, John Maxwell thought this was a leadership principle, and it is. But he also teaches leadership. I saw it as an ownership principle. I saw it as, sometimes John Maxwell's writing universal laws without realizing it or taking credit for it. He's like, oh, this is a leadership principle. No, you just wrote a universal law, bro. The universal law is this: you'll never be more successful than your ability to whatever it is you're trying to do. This sounds so simple, right? But here's the thing that I'm trying to get you to understand. It's never, ever, ever anyone else. It's always you. You can have as many followers as you want, whether you have blonde hair or brown hair or purple hair or pink hair or no hair. Because you decide what your Instagram ability is by the time and energy and work and effort that you put into it. I've seen people having 7-figure businesses with and without large followings, with Instagram, with Facebook ads, with LinkedIn. I don't know how the heck they did that. I hate LinkedIn so bad, but they wanted to and they did it because they decided. When I read that one principle, I'm going to try to wrap it up. I know it's going about an hour and you guys have lives to get back to. I'm going to try to wrap it up, but you got to hear this part, okay? When I heard this one thing, I thought back to every single pastor I've ever had in a small church that always blamed the lack of church growth on everyone in the congregation. If everyone else would just bring people, if everyone else would just get more involved, if everyone else would do this, I never once heard a pastor say, man, this church could really grow if I would just step up. Never heard that. Local guitar shops. Oh, if it wasn't for Guitar Center being open late and open on the weekends, we can't compete with that. Well, you could compete with that if you just stayed open later and were open on the weekends. That seems like super common sense to me, but that you just don't want to. That's all it is. Local coffee shops. Oh, we can't compete with Starbucks. Nobody values coffee anymore. People just want a bunch of sugar mixed with milk and a little espresso. Okay, awesome. But also, you don't have a drive-through and I have 4 kids. So how about you just have a drive-through and I do, now that I work for myself, go get local coffee all the time. But sometimes I've got 4 kids in the car and I'm going to go through a drive-through. And if it has sugar in it, that's fine. I'm just going to drink sugar because I need a drive-through. It's never, ever, 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 ever. I've never heard a single person in my entire life say, I am failing because I didn't do my part. And so I made a commitment that day to myself and to God that for the rest of my life, every single time I fail, I will do what Jim Collins teaches in Good to Great. He says a level 5 leader looks out the window for someone to give the credit to and looks in the mirror for someone to give the blame to. I said, for the rest of my life, I will take responsibility for my own failure and for my own success. It will never, ever, ever be anyone else's fault. I was very tempted my whole first year to blame everyone else for not valuing personal development, but I kept looking in the mirror over and over and over and over and over, which forced me to keep learning and growing until I got it right. I was tempted going through a divorce to be pissed at everyone else. Guys, I'm going through a divorce here. Why are you dropping off? Why don't you want to stick with me? Is it because you don't think I'm Christian enough now? Blah, 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 blah. When in reality, it was I wasn't working hard enough. I was going through a divorce. I was having a hard time. I wasn't working the way I used to work, and I was reaping what I had sown. We are always reaping what we have sown. If your business sucks, it's because of what you were sowing or not sowing. If you're not recruiting, it's because you're not sowing seeds of recruiting. You're not posting enough about the business. You're not inviting people to join the business opportunity. I mean, it's that simple. It's literally every single time. It's that simple. I've yet to have one thing that I've coached a person through that I was like, man, that is just beyond confusing and crazy. I don't know how anyone's going to do it. It's always simple. It's always just, we need to be more intentional about the thing we need to do. And that's it. So my last analogy that I want to give you, and then I promise I'll shut up and I'll let you process this 7 hours worth of teaching that I just gave you, is I want you to pretend for a second that you left your kids, if you don't have kids, your dogs, whatever you have, your pets, your loved ones, you left them at home with a sitter. You went out on a date night or you went to the grocery store, whatever it is. You're on your way home and you see smoke coming up from your neighborhood. You turn into the neighborhood, you realize the smoke is coming from your street. You get to your street and you realize the smoke is coming from your house because your house is on fire. You drive as fast as you possibly can to the house. You jump the curb, drive over the grass. You don't care. You jump out of the car. You go running to the door, somewhere in between the car and the door because you were so frantic, the keys flew out. You have no idea where they're at. You have no idea. Maybe they're buried in your purse. You just can't. You have no idea where they're at. All you know, house on fire, loved ones inside. How many of you are finding a way to kick through the door, punch through the window, jump down the chimney? You are doing whatever you've got to do to get inside. Now, take the same situation, but your kids are not inside and the house is not on fire. Are you kicking down your door? Are you punching through your window? Absolutely not. You're going to sit in your car and play on your iPhone until the locksmith shows up, correct? And that's what most of your businesses look like. You're sitting in the car, playing on your phone, waiting for someone else to come unlock the door. Meanwhile, what you did not realize is your house is on fire and your loved ones are on the inside. You signed up and you said, we're drowning in debt. You said, I'm working a job that I hate. It's literally eating my soul. That's what detailing cars for 9.5 years did to me. Or my spouse has a job that they hate. It's eating their soul. I'm sick and tired of them coming home exhausted and worn out every single day. And I want to do something to help. That's why I signed up for this, because I wanted to do something to help. Your house is legit on fire and your loved ones are on the inside. And you're sitting in the car playing on word swag, waiting for the locksmith to show up and save the day. Some of you are praying to God, and I believe in God, but God is the one who set into motion the laws of the universe, one of them being you reap what you sow. God can't undo free will. God cannot unlock your door while you play on your phone in the car. He can't. The universe would literally implode on itself if God broke his own universal laws that he set into motion. You have to make the decision to do something about it. You have to kick down the door. You have to punch through the window. Here's the hardest part, though. The hardest part is your business doesn't work like a physical building. You don't just get through the door with one kick. Like I mentioned earlier, you are constantly reaping the harvest of the work you did 3 to 6 months ago. The hardest part of this business is if you really want to save your loved ones, you don't get to just take one swing at the door and then, oh, yay, everything's good. You got to be willing to beat on that thing for 3 to 6 months just to see the initial results. But I said when I started my business, I'm sick and tired of the house burning down. I'm the one that let it happen. I let it happen, and it's time that I do something to fix it. The law of ownership is such a beautiful thing because it says if you're the only one that can save the day, no one else has the ability to wreck the day. You hold the power in your own hands. No one can take it away from you. It's the greatest blessing and the greatest curse. Greatest curse because, of course, we'd love for someone else to come save the day for us, right? But it's the greatest blessing because no one can stop you and no one can hold you back. And when you realize that, you truly do have infinite potential. You can go as high as you want, as far as you want, which means you can empower your children to do the same. I told myself, I will not let my kids face the same demons I had to face. And I truly believe that in life, you either face your demons or you pass them on. And I decided to face mine. I still have some, of course, that I'm working on facing. But at least with the money one, my kids dream. My kids have hopes. My 10-year-old talks about the businesses he wants to start. He doesn't want to go to college. He thinks that's stupid. He's going to start a business. No offense to the educators. I have nothing against college. That was his own idea, not mine. Because I crushed the demon for him. And now he gets to think with no limits. So, homework assignment before we go. 2 things. Number 1, Chelsea, could you do me a huge favor? You or Rob, make a post in the Facebook group.
Sure.
And I want you to give people the opportunity to share their new puke goals. I want monthly goals. I want week goals. Okay? I need to hear it, and I need to hear it tonight. Okay? Monthly goals, weekly goals. What's your new puke goal? What's going to get you out of bed early or keep you up late at night? Okay? Second thing, if you need help, this isn't really an assignment. This is more just a shameless plug. Okay? If you need help, staying accountable, doing the things you know you need to do. I have a group called the Push Mastermind. In the Push Mastermind, we are legit getting people to take action. In month 1, we had 96% of the group. There were 230 people in there. I'm not talking about like 96% of 10 people. We had 230 people in there. 96% of them did at least 70% of their daily activities. They did the right things. 86% of them did 85% of their activities. 12-week year says that anyone who does 85% or more of their daily activities will have incredible success. You want to have incredible success 3 to 6 months from now? The Push Mastermind will force you to do that. We have weekly calls every single Monday where I speak life into you. I speak energy. I'm not teaching you new stuff. I'm just teaching you belief. Then I answer calls from the group. We have a thread where you can ask questions that you have. We have a Facebook group where you can go in there and interact with other people, brainstorm ideas about, posts that get good engagement, about breadcrumb posts, about call to action posts, all that kind of stuff. We put you on a daily tracker so you know exactly what to do every single day. There's personal development items and business building items, okay? I don't think you can build a business without both. You got to do both, okay? If you want in this group, oh, good. KB loves the group. Atta girl, where you at? Where are you at, KB? I'll see you. Where are you? Are you on page 2 or 3? You're over here. What up, girl? How's it going? So the Push Mastermind, okay? Here's the thing. It is $249 a month, okay? $25 of that goes into what we call a cashback challenge, which is basically the same as a health bet pot, okay? 25 bucks of it goes into this cashback challenge that at the end of the month, if you did 85% or more of your activities, you get a split of. So this last month, the split was 40 bucks. It's not a ton, but that's awesome because that means everybody was doing their stuff, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do for you guys. Because Rob and Chelsea just signed on with me. Please don't share this with other teams, Chelsea, because I haven't done this for everybody, okay? Just for you guys, anyone who's signing up for the first time, okay? It's gotta be a first time. We can't go back and like refund people for stuff, okay? If you're signing up for a first time, I'm gonna give Rob and Chelsea a link tonight that they can share in their team page where you can get in at 200 bucks a month instead of 250, okay? Now, here's the thing. You can cancel at any time, so it's not like you're stuck on a contract forever. So if you want to like try it out for a month, you can always cancel your payment just as long as you do it before the next one comes out, just like Shakeology, okay? Everyone, please, you understand Shakeology. Please don't come into my group and pretend you don't understand how that works. You know how it works, okay? But the thing is, the group technically is $250 a month. If whatever price you get in at, you get grandfathered in at that price for as long as you stick with us. So I'm giving you the opportunity to get in at 50 bucks cheaper, and that will literally be your price forever as long as you stick with it and don't take off, okay? So I will send Rob and Chelsea that link. Anyone who wants to get in there, you can sign up. I'll give her some information about the group too. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can always come to my website. You can shoot us a message. I'll give her all of that info so she can post that in the group so that we can let you guys get back to life. But Rob, Chelsea, I love you guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much. I hope that I lived up to the incredible introduction that you gave me.
Beyond. Josh, thank you so much. And guys, if you need more of Josh, I know I actually definitely need more of Josh. You can find him on Instagram at joshcoates_pushcoach. On Facebook, he's got a personal and a business-like page where he's got some very strategic, inspirational social media. But guys, 4.5, so 5 challenge packs sold covers the cost of that mastermind group. And if you're that person that's struggling with just the consistency factor, I've been in it since Summit, and I got to tell you, it is one of the coolest things I have ever been a part of, and it will keep you accountable. And what Josh shared tonight, this magic, like that, this is not a one-time thing. Every time I have gotten on a call with him or been a part of one of his groups, I have learned so much, and I've even heard some of the same things, but needed to hear it again and again and again, and have it reiterated. So I hope that you guys, if there was something that really stuck out to you, and I know I saw the comments, you guys were moved by what was shared tonight. Give yourself, just go for it. Set that goal. I'm going to be sharing all the homework assignments in that Shred Nation Coach family. But do it for your family, do it for yourself, and set that big goal that's going to make you want to puke all over the place, but fail forward and fail toward everything that you deserve. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Josh. This is incredible, and I hope you guys have an awesome night.
Thanks, guys. Night.